Hello and welcome back to Radio Free Urbanism. This is a special episode. This is not a regular episode of the podcast. It's a bonus episode, and I have here a very special guest with me, someone who I had the opportunity to meet with in the Netherlands. Please welcome to the show, Mark Wagenbuur, or as many people call him, Bicycle Dutch.
Thank you for having me.
We're very excited because we had a really great opportunity to chat in the Netherlands, in Den Bosch, in your hometown. But there's still a few things that I wanted to ask you. We got caught out in the rain, and
yes,
I was so frozen by the end of that ride that I was like, okay, I just need to get inside and get dry, because we were riding for at least 2 hours. It was like 40 kilometers or something, right?
Yeah, we overdid it a little bit.
A little bit.
Just a little bit.
If the weather was different, if I was prepared more and I'd put my rain pants on at the beginning, I think that would have made a big difference.
For me as well.
Yeah,
so I wasn't prepared either.
I think we were both wearing jeans.
It was kind of a drizzle, so it didn't seem that bad. And then we were dripping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Didn't have a dry phase on my bone, yeah.
No, same. Yeah, wet to the bone, as they say. So let's just start off with the obvious. For those who don't know who Bicycle Dutch is, who Mark is, please tell us who that is.
Well, my name is Mark Wagenbuur. That's how you pronounce it. And for the English-speaking people, I chose the name Bicycle Dutch because when you do Bicycle Dutch all about cycling, you have all the Google words, Bicycle Dutch, Netherlands, cycling, everything. So it is not proper English, I know that, but people remind me because of that. So that's good. And I've been filming for a while, since 2009. Because, as you say, somebody said something wrong on the internet, and this was 2009. You could still have the illusion of correcting people. What I didn't know back then was that some vehicular cyclists, I found some vehicular cyclists on the internet, and they were against cycling infrastructure. And they said that the cycling infrastructure in the Netherlands was particularly bad for cycling and dangerous. So I thought, what is this? They are crazy. I'll show them a video and they'll understand. And in 2009, there weren't hardly any videos about cycling or cycling infrastructure in the Netherlands on the internet. So I thought, oh, well, I'll make one myself. So I filmed a video, showed that to the people. They were even more convinced that this was a bad idea. So, but the video got a lot of attention, and that was interesting because I did make videos before and nobody ever watched them. And this was fun because people watched it and they asked questions. So I had reason to make another one and another one and another one. And now I'm over 1,000 videos in 16 years.
Yeah, it is crazy to see how many videos you've produced over the years. Mostly, would you say mostly in the Netherlands?
Mostly in the Netherlands, yes. But I also make some trips outside. I even was in the United States twice for my blog. In those 16 years, I wouldn't go anymore. But, well, I was
hey,
there.
Come on over to Canada. We're wide open. We got plenty of things to see here.
I've never been to Canada, so that would be interesting. Yeah, but I've also been in Australia because people wanted a talk there by me, and I had family there, so I was there anyway. I've been to St. Petersburg in Russia for a talk. I wouldn't do that anymore either. But things changed in the last 16 years in the world, but also at conferences in Spain, in Budapest, in Finland, in Dublin, in Poland. I've been around.
No kidding. Yeah, it's like I said, it's amazing to see. And it conjures up ideas of, like, how does somebody have this much time? Like, I do this as a hobby. I know you do as well. But how do you keep track of all of these different projects that are going around in the Netherlands?
Well, I used to follow everything on Twitter. Now Blue Sky, LinkedIn. I follow a lot of people that know about things, and I also get tips. I know a lot of people who work for municipalities, and they will tip me 2 years ahead because they are finished, but then the whole political trajectory has to go through. Sometimes I have filmed the before situation, and they say, yeah, next year it will be changed. And then I have to wait 3-4 years before finally something is visible in the street. And sometimes I have to take the before pictures again. because it changed already a little bit. But yeah, so people tip me and I try to follow everything. It's really funny because sometimes I know things that other people don't know yet. For instance, I tweeted at the time about bicycle parking that was made in my hometown. And the alderman, which is kind of the executive council member for traffic, asked me, Mark, how did you know that so quickly? I said, well, this was right in front of my own home. So sometimes you're lucky.
Yeah.
But I also travel, for instance, when there was a big bridge opened in Groningen, which is about 3.5 hours from my home. This was during COVID and during the curfew time. So I was alone in a hotel during curfew so that I could film this bridge the next day. So I'm also prepared to do that. A
Right.
little bit crazy you need to be, but it's fun. It's fun nonetheless.
So you got like
It
this
was
network.
freezing that day. My goodness. I was the only guest in the hotel due to COVID and they had turned off the heating.
Oh my
I
God.
was in my bed with my jacket on. It was ridiculous.
No
The
kidding.
things you do for the blog. Yeah.
What bridge was that, by the way?
The bridge in, somewhere in the north of Groningen, a wooden bridge, 700 meters long. And I forgot the name of the town, but somewhere north in Groningen. It's just the
Okay.
only little dot on my map in the north of Groningen. I have a map where I was, the bulk is around Utrecht and 's-Hertogenbosch, where I live, because I'm most often there.
It's local,
Because
yeah.
you also ask, where do you get the time? Well, I only work 3 days a week for my boss, and then 4 days a week for myself, I always say. So that's about how it works. Yeah. So yeah, lots of time.
No
But
kidding.
it's a hobby, and hobbies take time, cost money. This one even pays me something due to YouTube income.
Yeah, it comes
That's
back
the
a
only
little bit.
income I have, because I try to stay away from paid things because I want to be independent.
Mhm.
I want to be able to say what I want to say about things.
I
Although some people accuse me that I am very pro municipalities already. You can never do it right.
yeah, you're
so-
a shill. You're just a shill for the municipalities now. That's it.
Yeah.
You can never get away
Sure.
from. I know
Yeah.
that feeling for sure.
Yeah.
As soon as you start getting any attention on YouTube, your email just starts flooding with different requests or
Yeah.
offers, and it's just
Yeah.
honestly, it
And
can
one
be
person
hard.
will say you do this, the other person will say you do that. It's
Yeah.
the exact opposite.
Absolutely.
But they both accuse you, and they're both very convinced that it is the truth what they say. But yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well,
So
that's just the world.
it is. So I've had the pleasure of traveling around the Netherlands a few times now. I think I visited 4 times in my life, but the last 2 years I've had the chance to bike around the country. The first year was last year around Randstad, and this year I got to go. I saw every province now. I didn't go to every province this trip. I didn't go to South Holland, and I didn't go to Zeeland, I think. But I saw a lot of the
Zeeland
country.
It's for me also a province that I didn't cover much because
Yeah.
it's so far away.
Yeah, it's harder to get to.
Yeah.
But I have my own favorites within the country that I've visited so far, and I know that the Feats Award is given out occasionally every few years,
every other year.
every other year, and
Since 2000, so they've done it 10 or 12 times now.
and
something like that.
some cities have made it on there twice. So some of the cities named are Houten, Groningen,
Houten made it twice.
yeah,
Yes.
Utrecht, and
Groningen won. I
Sertogen.
must correct you. Utrecht never won.
Really?
And nor will they ever, because of the way this competition works.
Okay. Well, there you go. I stand corrected.
Nowadays, people determine. So they do interviews online, so people can fill out a questionnaire. And one of the questions is, how safe do you feel? And because Utrecht is so busy, people always complain about that. And so Utrecht will never win again, nor will Amsterdam ever win. It's the final 3 cities that won were tiny towns, and they also renamed it now. No, it's no longer Fietsstad, which means bicycle city. It's now Fiets municipality.
Ah,
And
okay.
the last 2 winners were Noord-Beveland, which is an island in Zeeland, and Schiermonnikoog, which is an island in the Wadden Sea, so up north, where there's hardly any traffic. And then people feel terrific on the bike. Yeah, it's easy. But so, yeah, the last time I covered this competition was in 2020 when Veenendaal won. and they also won for the second time then. So there are a few towns like Houten and Veenendaal which are so far ahead compared to the rest of the Netherlands because they were designed as a cycling city. Well, not so much as a cycling city, but as a city for people. And that works so in their favor. And now with the questionnaires, the bigger cities will never win again. So I stopped covering this. This
That's
is
fair.
not
Did Den
really
Bosch win?
interesting anymore for a foreign audience, at least.
Right.
For the Dutch, this might be interesting, but you don't even know these cities
No,
or towns. I mean,
they go right over my head. Yeah.
yeah.
Has Den
And it
Bosch
is
won?
really not so. It's not so interesting to compare cities in the Netherlands. They are all really good when you look at it from a foreign perspective. Yeah, it's like a bit like bragging, but the cities in the Netherlands in general are really doing a lot better than any city outside the Netherlands. I say reluctantly because it sounds a bit bad, but yeah, that's the
No, it
truth.
is true. Like I've
Yeah.
mentioned this before in my videos. One of my trips, I went to Almere, and that's what I found was like this is a city that has a relatively bad reputation. I'm sure other ones do, like Lelystad in the north, like north from there.
Yeah.
But
Which
to
is even
me,
better for cycling, I
yeah,
would say. Yeah.
for me as a
Should
somebody
you?
from North America, I'm like this is heaven. Like this is amazing. It's incredible. So it's all relative,
And
right?
even because it's such a new city, you can also relate to it even better because it really looks like a North
Yeah.
American city almost. Yeah.
I think
That
that's
it
why
could be.
why I like
Yeah.
Rotterdam so much is because they have these tall
Yes. You can
buildings that
relate
look
to
very
that much
modern.
better.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, because that's what we hear a lot in the Netherlands. When people visit from abroad, we are so different. The way we design our cities and inner cities and historic inner cities is so different from anything that the people are used to that they can't fathom having that in their own situation. So yeah, it's becoming increasingly difficult to relate to what we do in the Netherlands.
It's a
Yeah.
bit cloudy. Yeah,
I'm aware of that, yeah.
yeah,
Especially now that we take out cycleways, separate cycleways, because the volumes of traffic have switched. So we can now say, let's give the main part of the road to cyclists and say that cars are guest. What other country can do that in this way? That's because we, yeah, have so many
yeah.
cyclists.
We're trying over here, at least a little bit.
Oh yeah, and I mean I've cycled in the US, even in New York City. It was interesting, but you can cycle in other places, but it's never so relaxed and so connected and so ubiquitous. So everywhere. So you don't have to think about cycling in the Netherlands. You can just go on your bike and go wherever you like, and it's always good enough, safe enough. Some places are better, some places do better and want to do better for cycling, but none of them do bad for cycling. So that's really interesting.
Yeah, it is incredible. But as far as debates and things go, and I know we talked about this a little bit in the past, but we have to talk about it, and that's
I have a
having.
sense where this is going. Yeah.
So a lot of the times when I post videos, no matter where I'm riding, sometimes I'm wearing a helmet, sometimes I'm not. For example, in Netherlands, I never wear a helmet generally. And I do get comments, especially from people who I know who might have watched some of my videos, and they'll be like, you should wear a helmet. They'll point you at their finger, or they'll just be like, hey, why aren't you wearing a helmet? And I'll try to explain it, but I don't think it really gets through. So can you speak to this and why the helmet culture or lack thereof for the most part exists in the Netherlands?
Yeah, we have no clue why everybody is so preoccupied with helmets. The organizations and people that matter, in my opinion, in the Netherlands, so the Cyclists Union, the cycling professor, Marco de Brummelstrup, they're all against mandatory cycling helmets, and so am I, because we feel it is the wrong answer if you're trying to make cycling safer. And I'm assuming that's what people want to do by wearing a helmet. But if you want to make cycling, there are better ways and more effective ways, like improving infrastructure and most certainly reducing the speeds of cars, because motor traffic is what kills cyclists. And if you're under a car at 50 kilometers per hour, that plastic sheet on your head won't make a difference. So that is what we think. Yeah, and cycling in the Netherlands is so safe because so many people cycle. And if you would make helmets mandatory, there's a risk that fewer people will cycle and that therefore cycling will become more dangerous. So that's what we think. And then people will say, yes, but there are so many traffic injuries and so many traffic deaths in the Netherlands. True, that is true. But there are also many more skiing accidents in Austria than there are in the Netherlands. And we don't ski better than the Austrians. It's because of the numbers. And when you compare countries, you really have to weigh these numbers. And when you do, the Netherlands is the safest country in the world, although we don't wear a helmet and although people at very high ages cycle in the Netherlands and in high numbers. So, and then people will always say, yeah, but the Danes are so close to you. And then we say, well, if you look at the figures, the Dutch cycle 3.04 kilometers per day and the Danes 1.6. So we cycle more than double as much. And when we look at injury and deaths, it's especially the over 65-year-olds in the Netherlands. And when you see the Danes cycling there, it's 0.8 kilometer per day over 66. The Dutch aged 65 to 75, I have the numbers here, cycle 3.99 kilometers on average per day, which is more than the national average. So in higher age, people cycle more because they have more time and they like it. So the benefits for these people, the health benefits and everything around it outweigh the danger by a multitude of factors. So we don't get it. Why would you single out the bicycle? 19 people a day, says Professor Marco ter Brommelstad, die every day in the Netherlands of a fall while walking down the stairs, tripping over things. 19 per day. Every 3 days, 2 people die on a bicycle. So that nobody would argue that we should wear a helmet when we walk down the stairs. That's ridiculous. And for us, it's as ridiculous to ask for a helmet on a bicycle.
Oh my God, that stat just blows it out of because I've come to that. I've never said it to anybody because it almost sounds ridiculous to be like, you don't.
Sounds ridiculous to us.
You don't ask people to wear helmets when they walk, but when you actually have the stats to back it up, it's like, okay, here you go.
And then to top everything off, don't blame the victim. Mm-hmm. We are the victims when we die on a bicycle because the cars kill us. So address the cause and not the result. Mm-hmm. So yeah, we don't wear helmets.
Yeah, and like
nothing
to put that more in context for those who might not know. So as an example, when it comes to deaths per 100,000, you look at the stats between the Netherlands and the United States, for example. It's about 5 times, I think, as many people die on the roads in the United States versus the Netherlands. Even Japan, I think it's something like 2, maybe 2.5 times as many people die in the roads versus the Netherlands. And in Canada, I think it's something like 4 times as many. It's like if you said to somebody, hey, we have a solution where we can cut our road deaths by 75%. And you're like, let's do it. Like people would say, yeah, let's bring it on. Well, we're trying to give that answer to people here in North America, but it gets too caught up in culture war. But anyway, the point being is it is very safe, and it isn't helmets. Not like the helmets are the one thing doing the
because
thing.
If you look at population, you don't even factor in that we cycle so much more.
Exactly,
exponentially more. So it's you can't compare when you just look at the population. Numbers. You need to factor in how many times people cycle, how far they cycle. And if you do that, then we are really the safest country in the world.
Yeah. And like you said earlier about that relaxed feeling, it totally permeates your whole being when you're there and you get on the bike, and how much more different it feels being there. You feel like you don't need it. You feel safer because it is safer.
And also what I said, why would you single out cycling? Cycling is so normal in the Netherlands. Everybody does it. In other cultures where the cyclists are an outgroup, then you can say, see, you need to do something. But we all walk downstairs and we all cycle. So we see no difference why you would want to wear a helmet in one, and while the other is even far more dangerous.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense. The whole helmet debate does not make any sense to a Dutchie like me.
Totally. Yeah.
That's all I can say about it.
I appreciate that. I appreciate that
You won't
perspective.
catch me in a helmet unless it is in Brisbane, where I was a guest of the government, so I had to. But that's the only time I ever wore a helmet. It was the first time I ever touched a helmet as well.
That's incredible, actually.
Yeah, and I felt totally dorky with it.
Yeah.
I did not feel safer. Absolutely not. The cars were still coming at me. And even there's some evidence that cars come closer to you when you wear a helmet. So, nah,
Yep.
you won't convince me that wearing a helmet will do anything positive for me.
Somebody's going to try, but probably be in vain.
Yeah, they have tried.
All right, I've got another one here for you. So recently, here in BC, that's the province where I live, there was a high school in a small town, and over the years, they built up this highway that was beside this high school, and it got wider and bigger. And as it went on, they figured out there's a problem. The kids are on one side of this highway, and all the things they wanted to get to at the lunch break was directly across this highway. Naturally, what people do is they cross this highway. When you think of a highway, it's not separated. It's like a country highway, essentially, a small town. And there had been many incidents that happened over the years. So the authorities responded to this. And what they did is the North American way. They put up fences to prevent these high school kids from crossing the highway right there. So they'd have to go, a few kilometers out of the way to cross at the quote unquote legal crossing to get to those destinations to help prevent these incidents from happening. So I know you've talked about this before. If that's the North American way, what is the Dutch way?
Well, there are a number of things that are very different already between these cultures. We don't have any jaywalking laws or something that resembles it. So we can cross roads wherever we want, whether there's a road or not. So you're allowed to cross not a freeway, but you're allowed to cross any other street wherever you would like. So preventing the crossing is already not possible in the Netherlands. Yeah, with a fence. But we would not do that. No, we would make, if it is absolutely necessary, that road became so big. I mean, the school was there first. Why did that road come there anyway? You need to make a safe crossing for them. In this country, this reminds me of a park in Utrecht, the Wilhelmina Park, you could not cross it by bicycle when I was young in the 1980s, but everybody did because city center on one side, university on the other. Everyone went through the park, and it was dangerous because people walked on those paths. What they did is not a ban. They made a good cycle path through the park so that people could legally do what they were going to do anyway. So that is the Dutch way. We are going to make what people do safe. That is the idea. If you can't stop them from doing that, or you don't want them to stop from what they naturally will do, then you would need to make it safe that they can do it. So in a North American situation, that would be make a safe crossing, even if that inconveniences drivers, because that's usually why there are no crossings in the North American situation. I hear, we don't have those crossings. We have zebra crossings. And it used to be so that you couldn't cross within a certain amount of meters from the zebra crossing because that was illegal. But that was all abolished in the 1990s. You can now cross 5 centimeters next to a zebra crossing if you want to, even next to a crossing with a traffic light. If you step beside it, the traffic light is not even applicable to you. Mm-hmm. You can just decide where you go. So, yeah. It's very interesting how different we look at situations.
You're letting the people follow the lead.
We would make safe what people do anyway. Yeah. And in this case, you would make a safe crossing for these kids. They deserve it anyway, don't they? I mean, why would you ban them from crossing the road if that's what they want to do? With what right?
Yeah, it follows a lot of different trains of thought that people have about traffic safety. And you'll see this even here in Vancouver a lot is people, they look at punishment and basically people look at punishment as prevention, which I don't think is the best way to go about things. Right.
People are just trying to live their lives in a good way. That it's
Yeah.
not about right, wrong, and no, things happen and make them happen in a safe way.
Hmm.
If that's in any way possible, that's what we try to do.
Hmm.
So we look at things totally differently.
So another thing that the Dutch do differently, it's something I really appreciate. So I cycled through Hilversum, and this was because I watched your videos about these different places and I wanted to see for myself. And one of them is the first bicycle and car stacked tunnel in Hilversum called the Alexia Tunnel, where underneath
Yeah,
is a car tunnel, and
yeah,
right on top of that is a bicycle and pedestrian tunnel. And along the bicycle and pedestrian tunnel, on the walls of this, there are something, I think it was 1.75 million holes, and it
yeah,
makes up this artwork along the whole way. I think Louise Hessel was the one who did it. It's beautiful.
yeah,
But as I
yeah.
hear, this is a requirement. So can you tell me about that one in particular and the broader aspect of why there's so
Yeah.
much art in different public infrastructure like this?
Yeah, when I called this the first stacked tunnel with a bicycle tunnel on top of a car tunnel, all the Dutchies said, "Yeah, but we have other stacked tunnels like Rotterdam, but there the pedestrians are stacked. The pedestrian tunnel is stacked on top of the bicycles. In Maastricht, we have two car tunnels stacked on top of each other. This is the only tunnel where the bicycle tunnel is stacked on top of the car
It's a
tunnel, and
very
both are
particular qualifier.
under a road and a railway. So that's for the Dutchies who will become pedantic, because that's also a trait of the Dutch. Yeah, the art, that is a requirement indeed. Whenever you build a big project in the Netherlands, like a big building, public space, like a hospital or anything, like a tunnel or a roundabout even, a certain percentage of the building sum needs to be spent on artwork, on art. Yeah. So in the bicycle tunnels, we have sometimes murals, but they are susceptible to graffiti. And in this case, with the holes, that is a really great idea, because the holes form a pattern of flowers, and because of the holes, it's really difficult to put graffiti on, and the holes also absorb sound. So this is a win-win-win situation. It looks good. It will look good in the future, and it also absorbs the hollow sounds that normal tunnels would have. So really nice. Other tunnels have murals. Like I said, I've seen a tunnel in Zeist with blown up pictures of the surrounding area. So you really estranging because of the proportions that are out of normality. So that's really nice. But yeah, the art is part of our surroundings. We like to beautify things. We have quite a sense of what is beautiful and what is not in the Netherlands, I would say. We also factor in maintenance in the building some. That's also something that not all North American states do. You see the state of some of the public things, the maintenance, that is really astounding to us. I did a video once on a bridge in New York and a bridge in Zaltbommel, which to me really looked alike, and that is a coincidence, but they really looked alike. The Zaltbommel bridge was 20 years old, and the New York bridge was 5 years old, and that looked really run down compared to the Zaltbommel bridge.
That's
So it's
interesting. Yeah, it's like buying a
really
car,
strange.
yeah, and
Yeah,
not expecting to have to change the oil and get new tires and even fill the gas
yeah.
tank.
You need to factor in the maintenance. Yeah,
Yeah,
we are good at doing maintenance in this country, I would say, in general. Everything can always be better, but
of
yeah,
course. It's all
yeah.
relative, right? That's what
Well,
it
we're
always comes
not
down to.
perfect in this country by no means, but yeah, some things are done really well, and I like the art in every tunnel. It also helps you that it doesn't feel too daunting to go into the tunnel. Also helps that you usually can see the exit of a tunnel, because that's a requirement, that the walls slope outwards towards the top so that it feels more spacey. Yeah, that's all we think about everything in this country. And the way people perceive things, the psychology of that is really factored in every design, also road design. Even how many input can you process in time, like the traffic signals and the traffic signs and written signs. You need time to process that, and based on that input, take the right decision regarding other road users, etc., etc. There's a whole psychology behind that. And that's why Dutch roads, to many foreign observers, feel very calm. We don't have an over an input of visual, visual clutter
Yeah.
like in other countries.
It feels intuitive in
We
a lot of
try to keep
ways.
it calm,
Yeah.
and the road needs to be readable within an instant. You must instantly know, this is a calm country road, this is a main road, and it should look the part. All those things we also do. So yeah, I mean, there's this channel you must know, not just bikes. And it is not just bikes. We can talk about cycling in the Netherlands, but it's always part of something bigger, part of the way we design our environment, really.
Yeah. And it's something you see a lot here in contrast, like for example, a school zone. So there's a school zone that I go by frequently, that I bike by, and there's a sign that says 40 kilometers per hour only during school days between these hours. And
Yeah,
it seems so silly to me. It's like, okay, you're
yeah.
driving here and you have to see a sign and then you have to think, okay, what time is it now? Okay, it's within that range. Is it a school day? I'm not sure. It's like, is
And
it
you've already passed the school
yeah,
by
it's
then.
like you're already gone. Like it's already
Yeah,
over.
yeah.
Like there was a school zone that I went by. It was in a very rural spot. It was northwest of Amsterdam, kind of in between Amsterdam and Alkmaar. And it was just in this random spot, 15 kilometers per hour, giant chicanes, brick ground. Like there's no time of day you're going to be going faster than that. It's just like not possible.
No, no. Yeah,
And
it's
it's
self-enforcing,
intuitive.
as we say, but
Yeah.
the whole design of the road and of the whole environment there in front of that school makes you obey the rules.
Mhm.
Well, we don't want to obey rules so much in the Netherlands. But we do obey situations.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You induce that safe behavior. I think that's
exactly. Yeah,
such
you
an
induce
important
the
thing.
behavior that you want by much more than just putting up a sign.
Yes,
Because that
absolutely.
doesn't work. That's universal.
Yeah. So back to what you said about the Netherlands isn't perfect, right? There's always things that can be better. So we
Hmm.
had the opportunity, like I said earlier, you took me around your adopted hometown of Den Bosch. It was so beautiful, it's such an interesting city, and there's so many things I'm excited to share with it. If you're watching this, the video is already out about my tour, but that Mark has plenty of stuff that you can watch on his channel as well at Bicycle Dutch. But what I have to ask is there anything in Den Bosch that you think needs to be improved or can be improved? Or maybe that's like the most pertinent to be improved right now.
No, it's not perfect, although it won the best cycling city in the
Yes.
Netherlands a few years back, and that was a good reward, I think, for something the city did well. There is a place in the town just around the city main station. So we don't have a central station. We're not that big of a city, but we have the main station. And that was designed in the late 80s and built in the early 90s and finished in 1995-ish. And that was designed still with the car in mind. So cars can come up to the front of the station, and you have to cross big roads. Big roads for the Netherlands, 1 lane each direction, but it's quite busy, and you need to cross that as a pedestrian coming from the train. But the station will be redesigned, so they're already making plans, and that was the first thing they said on one of the first meetings where the public was informed. They said, yes, we know cars can go still way too much here, and the car parking is way too close to this, and it interferes, and we will change that. So they will change it, so I'll be happy, but it will take another 10-15 years. It's always so interesting that everything that materializes now, also these big bicycle parking lots that, for instance, in Utrecht, the biggest one, that was designed already 20 years ago. And it took about 10 years, and it is there now for 10 years. And now they would already build it differently, as you can see by the one they built under the water in front of Amsterdam station, because that has doors that open. The Utrecht one doesn't have, where it's always damp and cold inside. So that already changed. So we're already always 10 years behind about what we think is good and what is actually there. So,
Yeah.
yeah, there's always something to want, something
But yeah,
to
it's good to see the
change.
iteration, right? They're
Yeah,
constantly
and
iterating.
funny thing is, we do. Google Street View hates the Netherlands because they have to come every 2 years, at least, to do the whole thing anew because every street changes all the time.
Yeah.
I have these professors who come every year with another batch of summer school students, and I show them around, and they will always say, "Mark, you were here last year, and it has already changed again." And also, I have these books then with me with the before pictures and the after pictures, and I have to change that all the time because at a certain location, I will say, this will become, and then, oh, this is in the course of becoming, and have the before and the after. And now some places like, yeah, this used to be. I have to show the after or the before picture in my book. Yeah. And it changes all the time. So it keeps me on my toes as well.
No kidding. Well, you
Yeah.
keep on top of it pretty well.
I try to. It is a
Yeah.
hobby, after all. I did that all my life without realizing it. I mean, I was 10 years old when the Cyclists Union was founded 50 years ago. And I read that in the papers. And I read in the papers when they changed a street and why they changed streets because of cycling, maybe. I was 10 years old when the traffic deaths were at an all-time record. So I've lived through the history that the Netherlands has experienced, and I've seen all that, and I followed all it, and I thought everybody did, but turns out, no. It was an interest that I didn't realize I had. So yeah, all self-taught, but I followed it all my life.
It's incredible. So, and you shared it with the world, right?
I like to show off. It's also a sense of pride of what we do in this country, but it's also a sense of that I would love other people to have what we have.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy. It is so rewarding for society that you can just hop on the bike and get half a loaf of bread and tomorrow you go again.
Yeah. It is lovely.
People who shop by bike spend more in total in the shops because they come so often.
Yeah.
And we know all these figures but experiencing it is really nice. So I like to show people that, especially if they also, like you, bring out stuff to the world, then I'm really happy to show them
we can
in a private session.
Further spread it out, right? That's what we try to do as well. So speaking about
we
pride.
Love to get soaking wet for the good cause.
Exactly. Absolutely soaked. Speaking about being proud of the place you're from, if somebody's visiting Den Bosch and they have like an hour, what do they check out? Like, what is like the top thing or things that they need to see in the city?
Just 1 hour. That's really not much. If you're interested as a tourist just to see the city, you have to go to the center. The center is beautiful. We have a beautiful cathedral, beautiful squares. We have canals behind and under the houses because this city was so expanding so much that they had to use the space on top of the canals for housing. So that's special in this city. And if you want to see something of the cycling infrastructure, well, it really doesn't matter where you go, does it? We crisscrossed the city in a rainstorm, 2 hours, 40 kilometers up and down. We even crossed the provincial border. I already saw that clip in the video. We did that together. Yeah. Doesn't matter where you go, the cycling infrastructure will be interesting for a foreign eye, especially. We don't have the real blingy stuff like big bridges. We do have some, but just the everyday, what we call everyday cycling infrastructure that is everywhere and so connected and so usable and in such a great state of maintenance, that is the attraction. And doesn't really matter where you go. You'll see it everywhere.
It's incredible. And I think maybe if I were to point at one of my favorite things, there were so many things I really enjoyed about Den Bosch, but the first path we took was heading north. We basically headed north all the way to the edge of the city. And I think what you said was this is basically 5 kilometers of uninterrupted riding because you have the right of way, the whole thing. You just keep flowing through the whole city.
They used to be signalized intersections, and one by one they were transformed into roundabouts with priority for cycling. And then all of a sudden, when the last one was put in, I thought, hang on, we now have a non-stop cycle route from the city center all the way to the north. and you just never have to stop unless some driver makes a mistake. But oh well, we go so slow that we can adjust for that.
Mhm.
But not on the normal circumstances, you can just cycle without stopping, and that is the big attraction also of cycling in the Netherlands. We don't need to race from red light to red light. We can just leisurely and very calmly cycle upright. Who needs a helmet, right? Because we can look around, we see everything coming. You have time enough to respond to others because there's no visual clutter. Well, everything ties together. And yeah, it's just relaxed cycling that I would love other people to have as well.
Absolutely. And it's one thing I would
And it
love.
is possible.
I would love for people to actually experience it, because I think so many people, especially people in power here in North America, not only haven't seen it, haven't heard of it, and definitely have not experienced it for themselves. And I think it's such an important thing, because it really is a breath of
Yeah.
fresh air. And I've said this before, that as soon as, like, even in Amsterdam, like compared to here, you get it
Yeah.
off the plane, you get your bike, you get on the bike, and it might be insanely busy, but it's still such a better, relaxing environment to ride around in, even with those
And most
so many
Dutch
people.
people wouldn't want to cycle in Amsterdam because they feel it's too intimidating for them, even.
I wouldn't
But,
recommend it to somebody who's new to cycling to go ride in
you better
Amsterdam. It's
start
busy.
somewhere else. But
Yeah,
it's still very relaxed and very nice to cycle, even in
absolutely.
Amsterdam.
Yeah, it's something I like.
And I try to convey all that with my videos, but seeing the videos and actually being here, it's quite different.
Yeah.
I know that. So,
Oh, yeah.
There is really a difference there still.
Yeah.
But at least I can probably entice people to come and experience it for themselves by seeing the videos that I put
So
out.
first and foremost, for people who are watching this, go to the Netherlands if you can. If you can't, go watch Mark's video. So Mark, this is the opportunity for you to plug away anything you have.
Oh, you find me on, bicycle Dutch is such a strange word. If you put that in Google, you'll find me. So, yeah. My YouTube videos are on my channel, which is called Bicycle Dutch. And also my blog is bicycledutch.nl even. So, yeah. But I think I'm the first one in Google what everybody wants because it's such a strange name. So
It
really
stands
helped
out.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, Mark, thank you so much for joining me. It's been a pleasure. And well, I hope to meet you again in the Netherlands one day, or even better,
Would be nice
you make
to
it back
cycle
over
when
here.
it's not so rainy.
Yeah, you come over here to Vancouver, and let me tell you, it rains a lot here too. So make sure you come in July.
I've seen Vancouver from a plane 10 kilometers over Vancouver.
Yeah.
On my way to San Francisco.
Not as good as
it's
being
the
here.
shortest route from Amsterdam.
Yeah, not as good as being here on a
But
bike.
that's the closest I came. I must visit some for real.
Yeah,
one day,
awesome.
One day.
All right,
Yeah.
well, thanks again, and thank you to everybody listening. We'll see you next time.
Thank you.